Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to remind you each and every day, expands our base. The Trump revolution is on, and now I understand his desire for recess appointments, and the fact that the new Senate Majority Leader has agreed that there will be, in fact, recess appointments. The Republicans are willing to go along. And that answers the question about two nominees offered yesterday by Donald Trump. First, Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General of the United States, and second, Tulsi Gabbard to be the National Intelligence Director. Now, I want to be crystal clear. These nominations came from out of the blue. No one would have anticipated Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. No one would have anticipated Tulsi Gabbard as the potential Director of National Intelligence. These are serious nominations with serious consequences. I understand that Donald Trump feels he has a mandate to do what he wants to do, and clearly the Republicans are not going to argue with him. So here's the answer to the great question. Where does Donald Trump think he's going? The answer is he raised, as soon as this question of hearings came up, the idea of having recess appointments. Let me remind you that John Bolton served as ambassador to the United Nations under George W. Bush, but he was a recess appointment. He could not be confirmed by the Senate. And so this method is clear. So here is what Donald Trump has in mind. He already has the green light from the Republicans for recess appointments. He will nominate Matt Gaetz, and he will ask for a recess appointment, which will put Matt Gaetz in as Attorney General of the United States. And what will that mean? That will mean that Donald Trump will have a clear field. He can do anything he wants, and Matt Gaetz has said he will go along with Donald Trump. Let's take it a step further. Remember that Matt Gaetz was one of the leading election deniers in 2020. Matt Gaetz, well, he will do whatever Donald Trump wants. Now, let me point out that Matt Gaetz has resigned from the House, the current House, and the coming House, where he was reelected to another term from his district in Florida. Will that short circuit the Ethics Committee of the House of Representatives, a bipartisan group, issuing a report on Matt Gaetz? It's a very good question. They're scheduled to release the report tomorrow. Will they, or will it be buried? And does it matter? I raise this question with you so you understand very clearly that what Donald Trump is doing is a subversion of American democracy. Make no mistake, but it's his power to do it. It is his right to do it. And the Senate seems, under the control of the Republicans, to stand back and say, be our guest. Tulsi Gabbard is another question. A former representative from the state of Hawaii, she was a Democrat. And very few people realize that Tulsi Gabbard actually was an official of the Democratic Party. She has become a Trump Republican. She converted, if you will. And, of course, her conspiracy theories and her support for Russian interpretation of American intelligence is notorious. She will be the Director of National Intelligence. Let me tell you, the happiest guy in Moscow is Vladimir Putin. There's nobody he'd rather have. What does this mean? Why is this happening? It is because Donald Trump has now achieved the status of what we will call the arrogance of power. Now, when one has arrogance of power, inevitably there is hubris, and inevitably it is only the beginning of errors made which cause a downfall. But we don't know that to be true. We don't know what will happen next, but this I am certain of. Donald Trump now has the ability to do pretty much anything he wants. He controls the Senate, the House, and yes, the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump is determined to implement his agenda. There are no restraints on Donald Trump. And that, to me, is the scariest thing of all. One of the things which has been so essential in preserving American democracy is the question of the balance of power. That's right, a balance of power. If you don't have that balance, if you don't have a strong legislative, judicial, and executive branch all working together, you got a problem. But when I say working together, it doesn't mean license to do anything you want. And that, to me, is the most concerning thing of all. Yesterday, my phone rang off the hook in the afternoon. People asking, what in the world is going on? Republican friends of mine calling and asking, what in the world is going on? Well, we now know elections have consequences. Donald Trump won clearly, decisively, as did the Republicans. And as Donald Trump Jr. said on the ellipse in 2021, January 6th, it is no longer the Republican Party. It is the party of Donald Trump. I raised these questions with you this morning because no doubt there will be more news coming. Oh, one other thing. Marco Rubio, now slated to be Secretary of State in the Trump administration, when he steps out of the Senate, it will be the governor of Florida who nominates the next senator from Florida. And this is an interesting speculation. Laura Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, has played a critical role in the election of 2024 as really a key person at the Republican National Committee. There are those who are suggesting that Laura Trump be nominated by the governor of Florida, I should say appointed by the governor of Florida to fill the vacancy. Look, there's a lot going on, a lot of wheels spinning, and we only have a few minutes every single day to talk about it. But I must tell you, America is in for a ride. And what I referred to yesterday as the Trump Revolution, it's underway. No question about it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, sharing an episode with a friend or colleague, so we can continue to grow and expand, which, of course, as I repeat every day, is our goal. I want to remind you that you can interact with me on Facebook and LinkedIn. I try to read everything that comes in and, to understand what you are thinking. Special thank you to Gogo Zoger. She is not a recess appointment. She's a permanent part of our family here at Around the Political World with John Rothman. And I will see you all tomorrow.